Today's May 10th and it is Mother's Day, and I wanted to do a garden tour and show you guys how everything has come together. We started seeds together and I showed you how I transplanted things out into the garden. So now I wanted to give you the full tour, kind of the full vision. And I want this to be an inspiration to you guys, just to kind of inspire you and show you what is possible. So this is like not in any form showing off, but I just wanted to kind of encourage you guys and show you, what can happen. And this was a lot of hard work and I love doing this. So I wanted to show you and take you guys along. So I have two gardens. One is not fenced in and the other one is fenced in from bunnies and deer. And here I plant things that a little bit more precious that I don't want bunnies to eat and the deer. And then there, I kind of take risks sometimes and also plant things that the deer won't eat. So I want to start here. This is crimson clover. This was the vision I had back in October when I planted this. So in October of Actually, I think it was like middle of September of last season, I put seeds down and that was my vision, is I wanted to have beautiful red crimson little balls of fluffiness to walk in, kind of as I walk into the garden, they're gonna greet me. So these were the seeds that I got from a public library for free, and I've done shorts on that, and you've probably seen it, I don't know. But so anyway, so this is exactly the vision that I wanted. And right now we're having lots of bees coming. There's some honeybees, some bumblebees coming over here and eating them. They're kind of at the tail end of their life, the clover is. And so I wanted to kind of show you guys its last glory. But the bees just found it. It's been raining for weeks and the bees seem to just now found my clover. Sun rises right there and it goes that way and it hides behind a huge tree that we have. So not everything in my garden is in full sun. So I have to be very strategic in where I place everything. So everything that's here I've thought of, and I thought, okay, how much sun will they get and so forth. So starting out here, this is where I have my strawberry patch. So it goes all the way over there where the mulch is. And I did a video where I showed you guys how the troubleshooting that I did with my strawberries, because this was like a wasteland this season and then that was so full of strawberry plants. So I showed you kind of how I divided the strawberry plants from there and I planted them here. But one thing I forgot to explain is, I kind of fast forward through that at the end, is I intermixed and I planted some stock flowers. So I have my new strawberry plants, which it takes a while for them to establish. They're just now starting to get new leaves. But in the meantime, I kind of planted stock flowers. So at least I can have something to look at, some beauty. And then here I planted 2 rows of beets and then 2 rows of carrots. So they're coming up and they're doing great. I'm happy with that. And then this way, I have my arch trellis, and this is where I plant things like cucumbers, butternut squash, some flowers that kind of vine up. So I planted things like morning glory flowers on each side, so they will kind of vine up. So every year it's something different. Last year I had loofahs on here and a watermelon one year, so it always changes. But I'll have 4 plants. These are perennials that these keep coming back every year. And these are chrysanthemums. And they look just like daisies and they're like hot pink color. So gorgeous, come see. The color is unreal. It's so magenta. It's like a highlighter pink. And then here I planted I did a row of cilantro and then a row of lettuces. And then I have tons of volunteer snapdragons throughout the whole garden. You'll see, I mean, all this is snapdragons. They're everywhere. Here I have my 4 trays of Lysianthus. These are my seeds that I saved from last season, and I started them in a different spot, and then I transplanted them to soil blocks. So there's 200 Lysianthus. And when people say that they're slow growers, this is what they mean. These were started in January, and look how tiny they are. Like, look, I think this is like the biggest tray that I have. Their size, do you see that compared to my finger? Look how tiny. So there's my, they're so tiny. They just have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 leaves. Some are even smaller, depends. So those Lysianthus I started indoors, right? So they're like what? January, February, March, April, like almost 5 months old. These came back on their own. These were from the plants that I had here, and they overwintered. I had lots of leaves here, and they just came back. Look how strong they are. I have another one somewhere too. But look how beautiful. They're huge. This is one plant. So sometimes you try and try, but they just happen on their own. These little guys, I grew last season, and I had them in this bed, and they did not do good at all. And I was mad at them because they looked terrible all season long. And I'm like, you know what? That flower is not even worth it. Like, yes, it looked beautiful on a picture, on the package picture, but they just did terrible for me all season, and I was just not happy with them. I'm like, I'm not gonna grow them again. They grew on their own, and they look beautiful. They actually look better than they did last season that I had them. So I don't know, maybe the thing to do is just spread the seeds down and let them come up on their own when they're ready. Look how beautiful mine did not look like that last season. I think they like cooler weather, and that's what they're doing so well. So today's Mother's Day, and my daughter gave me this as a Mother's Day present. So she started these at her school. One is lupine, and we're not sure what this is. She said it was some kind of a bulb, so I'll have to ask her teacher, but that was from her. So sweet. Okay, so in this bed, I have tons of Snapdragon volunteers that I'm just kind of letting them come up, but the beds always evolve. I mean, I'm gonna put probably Lysianthus right here. So I still have some things that I need to plan out. So it's kind of always evolving, so. Right here I have my onion bed. There's nothing much to see. I mean, nothing much to see until July when it's harvest time, but yep, got my onions. I have a volunteer cosmos I'm keeping. Here I have a volunteer weed of some sort, but I wanted to keep it. The leaves look so tropical, it looks really cool. So I don't know what it is. This whole row is not quite finished being planted out. This is where I'm gonna do my tomatoes. And then here I'll do a few dahlias. But I do have a lot of volunteer poppies that came up right here. And then here, I have a volunteer weed. It's called field pennycress. But I remember it from last year I had it, and I dried these as like stems for dried flowers, and they dry so pretty, these little pennies, little penny pods. So I'm keeping this. I want it for dried flowers. I have a row of onions there. And then here I have another volunteer poppy that already has buds. So probably for the June garden tour, they're gonna be ready. Look at that. Right here, I have a tray of ginger. that I started kind of late, so it's kind of just now starting to get the little green shoots are coming through. And then here I have some violas I started. Along this trellis I showed you guys in the video, I planted peas. So I have peas there just now kind of starting to take off. And then I planted peppers, sweet peppers in here. So golden cow, like an orange pepper. And then I have some lettuces and kale here. And tons of snapdragon and verbena. That's another one. So this right here, this is verbena that I grew last season, the purple flowers. So they're all coming back. And then I have a million. I've never had so many snapdragons in my life. So I'm not sure what I'm gonna do with all of them, but here they are. So these beds are still work in progress. I'm still gonna try to squeeze a few more flowers, a few more seeds, and they're just always evolving. So, but even in the June garden tour, things are gonna look a lot different. So make sure you stay tuned for that. This is my bay leaf bush that my husband, who is behind the camera, he bought this for me 4 or 5 years ago. He got it on Etsy, and it was like a little twig when it was probably like this big when we planted it. And it just keeps growing and growing, and I love it so much. So I put bay leaf when I make my pickles. When I pickle them, I put bay leaf leaves in the jar, and then also use it for broth, of course. I have it inside the house for most of the season except the summertime. So I get it out right now in the spring, and then it'll stay here till October, and then I'll put it back inside the house. So here I have my garden that's not fenced in. And here I plant things like potatoes, garlic that the deer and bunnies won't touch. So here I have my dahlias right now. This is where they'll go, not all of them. About half of them will go in this bed, but right now they're just hardening off. And then I have my garlic, and that I planted last October. So the garlic is doing great. I have hardneck variety here, and then way up there is my softneck variety. Underneath the netting, I have my broccoli that we started together. I did a video on that. And in the video, when I planted the broccoli, they were like such small starts, because I think they were like a month old when I planted them out. But look at them now, they're huge. They're touching the net. I had to kind of make the net a little bit taller. They're doing great. And I have tons of volunteer potatoes that are popping up, which I knew would happen. So like over there, if you can see, I have a lot of potatoes that are just popping through wherever they have space. I'm not mad about that, because this is the one season that I haven't planted potatoes. This is the first season I have not planted potatoes, white potatoes. And I didn't have any more of my own seed, and I didn't want to buy any, and it was late, and I wanted to save my bed for something else. So that's kind of what happened. But I have so many volunteers that I'm actually, hopefully I'll get a good harvest. So I'm happy about that. Behind the broccoli, I said that in the video, but behind it, I planted stock flowers. It's kind of hard to see them. They're kind of squeezed. Let me see if I can come up here. But like these right here, and then these they're just now starting to get, see right here? They're just now starting to get buds. And I think one of them is actually blooming down the row. That pink one, he's blooming. Here I have the star of the show. These are my ranunculus flowers that I planted with you guys in March. This was the first thing that I planted out in my garden this season were these ranunculus. And they love cooler weather, but they really do not like the rain. So a lot of them kind of gotten beaten up by the rain. They're not liking it so much at all. And we've had so much rain. I think this is only like the second day that it's sunny. So like this one is kind of beautiful, but a lot of them are past their prime. But I didn't want to cut them off. I still wanted you to see something. So you know that so many of them are blooming, but like these two are gorgeous. They're in their prime. Like these are all past their prime. This one is pretty good. Oh, this one is beautiful. How beautiful is that? I definitely have a favorite, and it's this one. It's mostly white with like slight little variations of pink. It has slight little variations of pink right here. But isn't that pretty? Love it. Okay, so the ranunculus are doing good. They're just now kind of taking off. So now that I've shown you my ranunculus, now what I'm gonna do for them to have new blooms is I need to go through and clip all the dead blooms off. So that way I always have new flushes of flowers. I just wanted to keep these so you can see them. But I'm gonna go through and just all of these that are spent, cut them off so they can have spent all their energy producing new blooms. Right here I have 2 spicy peppers. They're called lemon drop. And then back there we have a volunteer sunflower. I have a few volunteer sunflowers that are popping through. So really quick, just in here I planted some cilantro. And then I have 2 rows of dill coming up. I have my huge lemon balm bush. Back here, I planted some hollyhocks. So every other is a hollyhocks. And then the other ones are called money plant. And those, I will see the blooms the following year. So I have a lot of volunteer dill. I love it. Right here, I just transplanted my artichoke. So I have 3 plants, 1, 2, and then 3. And then this is all volunteer poppy flowers, and they all have buds. So by next month, tune in, and then they'll be all in bloom. I'm so excited. Here I have my rosemary plant that I overwintered inside the house, and so I just planted him outside. It looks like a mess right now, and it looks half dead. But if I'm correct from the previous years, it should be fine, and it should bloom. Give it some time, and it's gonna bloom and have all new shoots coming up. But rosemary is one of those herbs that just is a constant battle. It's like I keep trying and trying with it. So I have some that I started from seed too. I'll show you later. Here in this bed, I have some lavender that I started from seed, I think 3 years ago. This is its 3rd year. They're doing awesome. I gave them a haircut at the end of the season last year in the fall. And so they are just now coming back. So they're just now starting to get their buds. And I'm thinking probably next month, or maybe at the end of this month, they're gonna be all purple and beautiful, or lavender. So I'm excited about that. And here I have some hollyhocks that I transplanted, my starts that I started, some rudbeckia, some African daisies, just a lot of random flowers. This is a weed that keeps coming back every year, and I love it. It reminds me of daisies because daisies are my favorite flowers. and it looks so beautiful, so I'm allowing it to stay. But I think it's called like butterweed or something like that. It's beautiful. These are sweet Williams, and those are biannual. So that means they bloom on the second year of their life. And this is their third season. These are kind of all volunteers came back on their own. In here I have my tomatoes, 48 of them that are hardening off, and some of them are not looking so hot. So we'll see, survival of the fittest. We'll see who's good. And I'm gonna plant them, a lot of them on the fenced garden. And then these are just leftover peppers that I'm gonna give to my friend. And then back here, I have a whole tray of cotton. So I planted, if you saw my episode where I transformed my neighbor's garden bed, I planted, I think 6 cotton in there. And so these I haven't planted out in my garden yet, but I'm going to. Probably not all of them, but. So this is cotton. I grew it last year for the first time. It was so cool and so fun. You don't hear a lot of home gardeners talking about growing cotton, so it's fun, I love it. So this bed, I have a lot of different things that I squeeze in here. I have 2 rows of radishes. All these are radishes. In between, I have 6 rosemary plants that I started from seed. So right here. And then a few onions kind of here and there. Then here, every other plant is delphinium. This is my first year growing those. And then these are African daisies. I love those flowers. Then I have some eucalyptus. They're very tiny and they're not doing so hot, but I'm hopeful that maybe they'll get their second wind. So I have eucalyptus that I'm growing this season. And then I have few lupine. Same thing, they kind of are struggling, so, but we'll see. I just planted them out, so hopefully they'll get new leaves. Lupine, this is right in the center of the bed, is gonna be my queen Russian status. So I've struggled with that plant for so many years, and even this season I planted like tons of seeds. He's the only one that survived. So I am waiting for him to go to seed so then I can collect lots of seed and save and grow that again for next year. And then here I just planted these out yesterday, but these are petunias that I started from seed back in January 25th when I started them. On this arch trellis, I planted butternut squash, some cucumbers, morning glory. I think that's it. So this is the arch that I see from out of my kitchen window. So one year I had loofahs hanging here. The other year I had butternut squash. And so it's kind of fun to have, some yard-long beans also. So that was fun. So hopefully it doesn't get as much sun on this side. It's kind of like part shade, part sun, because the house shades a lot of it. So we'll see how it does. But I just planted those out, so they're just now getting started. And then here we have my daughter's strawberry plants that she planted. And I see that they have some little strawberries, little baby strawberries. And then in here I have some peppermint plant that I have planted in a pot that I buried in the ground, because these guys just want to take over the whole area and spread like crazy. So I have them in a pot. And then a few more things that are hardening off. And that's it. Well, that's it. That concludes my tour of my 2 garden spaces. And thank you so much for watching, for coming along on this journey. I hope this is inspirational to you guys and you kind of see kind of what all is possible, and then learn about all the different kind of plants. So I love growing just everything and learning about what I like, what I don't like. So, and also things grow differently in a sunny area, in a shady area. So I constantly move things around, and the garden is always evolving. It's never just like you plant it and things are done. It's always you pop in a few more seeds here, you find a plant, you put here, somebody dies, you put somebody new there. So my garden will be always evolving during the season. So let me know in the comments what some of the plants that you are planting, and I always love to learn about different varieties. One of the money plant I learned about on Facebook. I saw some lady posted and I saw it for the first time last year, and I was like, oh, I want to grow that. So I'm still learning about different things. I'm loving learning about cut flowers, kind of like my thing that I love. One thing I haven't gotten into are like pots, growing in pots. So that's like its own little world that I need to learn. So anyways, just let me know in the comments. I read all the comments. Feel free to kind of leave your thoughts there, and I'd like to know from you as well. Anyway, so thanks for coming. Until the next episode, I'll see you then. Bye.